Uploading files to platforms like SmartSuite is easy if you have a public URL. But what if your file is downloaded or stored as binary data? That's where it gets complicated. In this video, I will show you how to use make.com to upload binary files to SmartSuite via their API. Check it out. Welcome back. I'm Zack from InnerDev Solutions. We help businesses streamline their processes using custom no-code tools so you can focus on what matters most. To learn more, you can visit our website, innerdevsolutions.com, or use the link in the description below. Let's break down the steps in make.com, and then we are also going to take a look at SmartSuite's help docs to get us started. So a couple things, you're going to need a SmartSuite account, and you're going to need a make.com account if you don't have them already. Links in the description below for both of them, and you'll also be able to find this help doc in the description below as well. Otherwise, you can just go to SmartSuite into their help center and search for binary upload or downloading files, something like that, and it should pop up. However, let's just take a look at this. There's a few things we need to take a look at. Basically, we want to get the QuickBooks PDF invoice into SmartSuite. I'm going to break it down and simplify it. I've got plenty of other videos on how to create different invoices on various platforms, but you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. But there's a few steps that need to happen before uploading the actual document or binary file into SmartSuite. The things that you need to use to upload it are an authorization and account ID. And to upload a file, you have to use this URL and then fill in the placeholders. I'll show you what that looks like, but this is the help doc that we will use to get us going. In SmartSuite, I just have a really simple invoice table. There's only a few things that we need to work with. And really, actually, it's only one. We just need a file or attachment field. And I've got one here, just labeled it invoice PDF. And then I've just created a sample record with an invoice ID that exists in my QuickBooks Sandbox account. But again, this same process is going to work for any type of document or file that you need to upload to SmartSuite that you've downloaded as a binary file. I'm going to show you a screenshot of a scenario that I have developed for QuickBooks previously. This is what the full scenario would look like, or some variation of it. It's a little bit difficult to see, but with QuickBooks specifically, they have a module to download the invoice, and this is what gets the binary data. But there is an HTTP get a file module as well that exists within Make. So if that's the way that you have to download the information, then to upload to SmartSuite, the process is going to be the same. But essentially what this looks like here is we have a webhook back in SmartSuite. You could have some sort of automation set up or a button. When you click it, it triggers the workflow. Really quickly, it's going to get this record, which is the invoice, and it's going to iterate through each line item, which I don't have attached here. But there'd be a number of line items, and then it's going to aggregate that into an array, create the invoice. This step is just send an invoice. Depending on your specific process, you don't need to send it automatically from Make. And then this is downloading the invoice. Again, this is what gets the binary data. And then this step here is what is going to post that file back into SmartSuite and attach the PDF, in this case, to this field. That's what it looks like in a full scenario. I will get into building within Make now. First thing I'm going to do is get a record. I'm going to get a record from SmartSuite, and I am going to get this record right here. I'm going to do that by just copying the text there. And now I need to go select my table. I've selected my solution. I'm going to select my table invoice. In this case, the filter is just going to be the title is, and I'm going to just paste that in or hard code that in. So now if I right click, run this module, we can see that the output, we have the invoice ID is 189, the invoice PDF is empty, and the title is sample invoice. It is correctly getting this record. Next step, I'll select QuickBooks, download an invoice, and then the invoice ID, I am just going to pass that in from SmartSuite because I have it entered in here already. Download the invoice, and that's going to be binary data. And the last step in this use case is going to be an HTTP step. And this is where I was mentioning this get a file here, which downloads a file from a given URL. If you have a public URL already, it's pretty easy to pass the data into SmartSuite. But anyway, this module here also downloads an invoice or downloads the file as binary data similar to this module. So the next thing I need to do is make a request module. And there's a few things I need to set up. I'll go back to the document, and this is the URL here that I need to copy. We'll come in and we'll paste it in directly. From here, we need to get a table ID. So you can hard code this one in because it's always going to be the same table if you're uploading an invoice, and then the field slug. We get the table ID and the field slug. I'll go back into SmartSuite. In the URL, make sure that you're on the correct table. If you go ahead and just copy that URL, and I'm just going to open this up and paste it in so you can see it. This here is the workspace ID, and then this is the solution ID, and this next one here is the table ID. So I can copy that, and you can also find a lot of this information in the API documentation, and we'll open that shortly. But if I go back into Make, I can come in to the table ID, and I'll just clear out that and paste in the table ID. The record ID, that is going to be dynamic, and we're going to pass that in from this module here, which is just ID, and then field slug into SmartSuite. We'll have to open up the developer docs. Within the developer docs, you will want to go to your field that you're looking for and paste it into or upload it into invoice PDF. So we can copy that field slug. I'll go back into Make, and then I'll remove the field slug here and paste in the correct field slug. We can change this to a post request. We want to add some headers. We go back into the documentation. There's an authorization with the token API key. Back into Make, we're going to paste in authorization. We're going to type in token space, and this is where you're going to paste in your API key. Now you can find that in the developer docs that we were just in, or within the settings of SmartSuite, and you'll be able to find that quite easily. And we're going to add one other header in back to the help docs. I want this account ID. Go back into Make, I'll paste in account ID, and that value is from the URL. It's this 8-character slug. So I can just copy that back into SmartSuite and paste that in. Skip over the query string. We'll go body type, which is multi-part form data. Fields, it's going to be a file. The key is lowercase files. And in this case, we can just use this QuickBooks download an invoice file. I'll hit save my workflow, and I'll paste in my key here, and then we can give it a test run. We can see in SmartSuite, I do not have an invoice attached. I'll go back into Make. I'm going to run this, and as long as we have it configured correctly, it should upload the file for us. Everything looks good. I go back into SmartSuite. I'll just expand the record, and I will open it up, and we can see that we have an invoice here from QuickBooks. Everyone's exact workflow is going to be a little bit different, but the important part to getting files that are in binary data format into SmartSuite, you're going to need at least 2 modules at the end, and that's to download an invoice or download the file to get the binary data. So that's the step here. And then immediately after that, we will have the make a request or HTTP make a request and configure it as I just showed you, and it should work for you every single time. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more tutorials in the future.